Decentralisation, social dialogue and good governance are crucial for job creation and socio-economic growth. They are the backbone to efficient local economic development practices. Local economic development, or LED strategies, take place within a specific territory or area. This is not necessarily confined within municipal boundaries. The local aspect of LED implies that development is inspired, owned and managed by actors within a given locality. Local actors have the capacity to identify common priorities for development and mobilize local resources. The Special LED Programme of the International Labour Organization is committed to decentralizing responsibility for development and to shaping development that has a direct impact on the lives of the people concerned.
Soy una convencida y soy una ferviente impulsora de las políticas de descentralización porque creo que las cosas pasan en los territorios.
In the October 2008 Inter-Agency Conference on LED by the ILO and the OECD, participants were involved in working groups that dealt with the issue of local government's responsibility in the development processes.
The session that we dealt with looked at the role of leadership and local leadership, and if there was a very clear strategy in terms of strong leadership and where localities wanted to be going with LED.
Local economic development happens or takes place within a national context where there is a delegation or devolution of power to the local level. If we are passing on these responsibilities to local governments, we need to make sure that there are mechanisms that does not undercut their initiatives.
Whereas decentralization officially happens on the ground, it is not really happening and mostly capacities are lacking.
Different levels of development at the local level determine different capacities of local governments to access and monitor local needs and priorities. The level of development of a territory also affects its capacity to influence priorities at the national level.
You have local authorities that are elected at the local level, and normally their primary constituency is the populace living in that area. But you also have at a local level in most parts in Africa officials who are elected from the national level. This to try to bring a much clearer articulation between the hopes and aspirations of the people at the local level, represented by the local authorities and the policies they articulate there, but making sure that they are in tandem with the national development policies.
International organizations have the opportunity and they have the capacity to dialogue with the central governments, and this is why we can make this link and sensitize the central government on the importance of local development.
In regions with few resources, poor infrastructure and basic skills, local development policies work better when accompanied by strong macroeconomic policies. On the contrary, in regions of higher development capacity, macro policies only provide the legal framework for labour and monetary issues. They give more autonomy to localities for planning and running their own development strategies.
Most of the people, they used to believe in that they are not getting the local help. But I don't believe in. It depends upon the individual and the approach.
Private, public and non-governmental stakeholders discuss together the needs and growth perspectives of the territory. The challenges are to ensure that civil society has the resources to gather stakeholders' interests around shared goals. Local governments should also have the legitimacy to negotiate, debate and plan in partnership with the private sector for more sustainable and cohesive initiatives of territorial development. LED guarantees good governance solutions to development because it is a participated, shared and sustainable practice. It respects the interests of all local stakeholders, which guarantees long-term growth.
The biggest challenge is representation, because in Africa, in many African countries, the informal economy is way bigger than the formal economy. So if you want to involve the private sector at the local level, you talk about people who are working in this informal economy, and to reach out to them is a real challenge.
LED processes, sustained by a commitment to decentralization, are crucial to increasing social dialogue, and they guarantee the sustainable development of a territory for the well-being of all individuals.